meeting.
That's better.
So it says,
Mine
so should,
says that the meeting is being recorded and its content is being sent to a third party. Is that
Yeah,
right?
but it's
Is that
not
okay?
broadcasting in the group.
Well,
yeah,
maybe I have to hit okay.
Hmm.
Did that make a difference? Did that make a difference?
let's
No.
see.
Right here. Look, it's the light
Yeah.
spirit shining on me. Ooh,
Ah,
after last
beautiful.
night, I'm lucky.
So, Mum, should we just record and then post it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's not broadcasting.
Okay. Well, let's just record and then we'll post it at the end.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we'll pretend that this is live. Welcome everybody to Seas of
There's
Love.
no business like show business, like
That's
no
exactly
business
right.
I know.
Exactly. We're just gonna roll with the punches, but we're having some technical difficulties as per usual. I feel like at this point it's kind of a prerequisite of this podcast.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but we're
Are you
very
girls misbehaving over there
Yes.
across the
yeah,
It
world?
looks like it.
Well, we're
well,
having thunderstorms and tornadoes here in Tennessee.
yeah, maybe it's just a thunderstorm everywhere, spiritually, all over.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
good metaphor for it.
Well, I'm very excited to introduce you to everyone. Sarah, you have, I feel like you're a woman of many talents. Like you have so many things going on. You're a musician, you're an artist, you've done TED Talks, you're a nonprofit owner. Like I could go on and on and on. And
Oh,
we're
please
very,
do. That
we're
was my
very,
imitation of Martin Short.
well, we're
I
very
love him.
excited. Yeah,
He's a
you've got
nut.
amazing, amazing energy, and we're so excited to have you on the show today. Um, I suppose we'll start off by asking you the question that we ask everyone, and that is, what is your awakening story? And where we'll follow you along the way. I'll hand over the mic, and you take this in any which way you want to go. And we're just grateful to be here with you.
I'm so glad to be here. It's one of my favorite things to think about and share. Um, I have always felt a calling to something um, bigger than, or I've known there was something bigger. You know, since I was a little bitty girl, I had two ways to scare myself. Woo, just give me high anxiety. One was to look in the mirror and say, okay, I see this reflection, but who is that back in there?
Mm.
Who's back there behind those eyes? What is this? Not just the body. So from a very small, as a very small child, from my background, my dad was a priest, an Episcopal priest. So I was born to an Episcopal priest who was a man who aspired to being spiritually enlightened and spent his life doing that. But I was, religious as a child. I said prayers and I was always taught that prayers would be answered. And I sang in church. You know, it was the my first audience other than my family.
Yeah.
And then of course I wove my way through leaving the church and leaving my family and, becoming an adult and falling in love and having to figure out how to move on after that. And there was something that wasn't right. There was something more important or a better way for me to do what my soul journey is. And I moved on and I fell in love again. And, that love stuff, it's wonderful, but if it truly is the highest love that you're following, which is just to flow, then everything is a gift. Every struggle, every good fortune. I was blessed with so many gifts and talents. And I was also blessed with a drive to share them with the world, and make the world a better place by it. Just one little sing along at a time.
Yeah. Was
I don't
music
know.
was music your first sort of calling to share that to the world? What was like your first way of spreading love and, your essence, I suppose?
Well, it has to be music. My mother's water broke at the symphony. She and my dad were at the
Mhm.
symphony, and I was in there, and I just think I said, "Way, that's it. Let me out. There's where I'm going."
Mm,
I don't
Yeah,
yeah,
know.
right.
It's a great story, but it's the truth. I made
yeah.
up the zooming part, but you know, if you listen to the sages, you choose a life you come back into because of things you have to learn, and you're given gifts, and how you use them and how you overcome obstacles. And it's all such a mystery.
Mm,
So I think flowing, rewiring, that's what I'm doing. I am not retiring. I'm
Mm,
rewiring.
I
I
love
But
love
that.
all
that.
through our lives, we rewire.
Oh
Yeah.
If
yeah.
you live a successful life, I mean, when you stop rewiring, you get all tangled up and sparks fly and things break. And
Yeah.
anyway, that's happened too, but that happens to everybody.
Mm.
And I
I've never
think my,
been someone who like thinks a career like would satisfy me. I like doing one thing for my whole life. I love the term rewiring. I really resonate with that. Yeah.
good, me too,
Mm,
because I believe that that is literally true, because older adults, as you move into a different phase of brain function just by virtue of your maturity, but it happens all along the maturity cycle. You have to use your brain and the electrical charges there as best you can. And I think staying active and interested in things, and staying creative and connecting with others, having a community, finding people who like you, rather than those who think you should go sit down. Sarah, enough.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
Anyway,
I love what you're saying, and a quote comes to mind um that I read the other day, and it was what it was the opposite of depression is not joy. The opposite of depression is expression. So keep expressing yourself. And
Oh, that's fantastic.
yeah, that's what kind of came to me when you're speaking is like being creative and being active and expressing yourself. And that's kind of the way forward and the way to grow and be happy and find joy and yeah, that kind of thing.
I love that. Would you put that in the chat or be sure I get that somehow? I love that quote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
It's not mine,
I'll
but I
post
read it.
on my, yes. Well, I'll say as, well, I'll find out who did, but I love that. It reminds me of this one that you do not dispel darkness
Mm.
by virtue of running it out. It is by allowing the light to come and fill that space, and the light fills a space, and it's not about, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
for
Definitely.
Sorry,
sure.
it's been a long
So we're
night.
overlaying the darkness with the light. It's not about getting rid of the darkness, it's about filling that dark space with the light. So
And that
they,
is such a theme in my writing, and that has been a theme in my life. I look back at images that I've been attracted to, and I do believe that that is a part of aspiring to a higher plane of consciousness for the world. I really pray for that for the world now.
Mm.
yeah, me
I
too.
feel like we really need all the archangels who are there who might want to help us. And we're going
Yes,
down, 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 down. Oh, it's crazy. Not,
it is.
Mm.
I mean, so you can't go there. You have to go, it's for a higher purpose. It's all fine. It's happening. You know, it's, you can't understand it. You're not the source. Just flow.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it's hard. The world is really crazy. I felt like in lockdown in 2020, like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Like the world is insane. But
It was
it hasn't like stopped since then. I feel
No.
like every year it just gets different. Like,
different.
yeah, it hasn't regressed back to normal in any sense. Like, yeah, okay, the world's opened back up and we, people can, I'm traveling like I've always wanted and, things like that. But every year I'm like, we have to be in a simulation. Something's got to be going on. Like, what is the universe doing right now? Like, what is this all for? It's so, sometimes it really doesn't make sense and it feels like, I don't know, like there are many times where I find myself in a lot of anger and like sadness because of
Oh my
what's happening.
God. There's destruction. We're seeing destruction everywhere. Violence, crumbled civilizations. I
Yeah,
mean, the
yeah,
images are horrific
yeah.
around the world. And that's hard for artists
Mm,
Yeah,
and for the common. It's hard for anybody who's paying attention and has
yes, that's
empathy.
it.
And if you're an empathic,
mm,
as probably everybody who would listen to this crazy show is, it like, ooh, it tries to get in there. But I heard another really great quote recently. Um, the collective dream. That's what and I believe in that Jungian collective consciousness, but we do want it to be a collective dream and not a collective nightmare. I
Yeah.
mm.
thought that was a great. So aligning with the light, because once again, back to you can't get rid of the darkness, just you've got to just keep letting the light in
Mm.
that's how we all move on individually and as a collective community with the help of our angels and archangels and all the company of heaven.
Sarah, I love that. I think that's so true. I think letting the light in, I think that a lot of people think that everything has to be perfect for the world to
Yeah,
heal or for them to heal or for healing to take place. Things need to like the darkness needs to be eradicated. But I don't think that's right. I think what you're saying is true. We can't get rid of the dark. We just need to let in the light. And if we focus on that, if we focus on singing more and playing more and
scratching our heads more if they
yeah,
itch.
yeah, like being more of ourselves and being more of who we are and you
That's
know,
it.
yeah,
That's it. Being your most authentic, loving, shining self.
yes, definitely.
And you'll attract light, and that's where you want to hang,
Yeah,
which will help you be active. My husband's very concerned about what's going on, as am I, but
yeah,
I am not as entangled in the angst as he is. I
yeah,
probably
right.
should be seeing what's going on.
I'm
And,
glad you're not. I'm glad you're not.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
I Oh, sorry, you go,
no,
Sarah.
no, I don't, I was just drifting.
I was
It's,
gonna ask, um, so with your art and your creative endeavors and just like you as a person, it's a big question, okay? But I was
yes.
gonna ask, what is your mission to like what message do you want to convey to the world with your art, with your business, with your writing, with everything? What's like, if you could sum up your message in one kind of, I guess, paragraph, what would it be? Mm.
Yeah, big question.
I would like everything I do to be an illumination of who I am for the highest good.
Mm.
Mm,
And that authenticity that you talked about, to be
mm,
yourself, just to tap into all of the gifts and talents that God gave you
yeah.
and all of the empathy and all of whatever you're given, amplify it for the highest good and be true about that
Mm,
because there are wolves in sheep's clothing out there, girls. Beware.
yeah.
There was a
Yeah.
reason Little Red Riding Hood didn't want to go into that forest. You know,
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Because you're obviously in a place now where you've uh found some deep authenticity. Like you are just yourself.
Yeah.
There is no
It's
denying that.
beautiful.
And it's beautiful and it's amazing. What advice do you have for people who are maybe struggling to be their authentic self?
you know, it takes a certain amount of courage.
Mm,
It does. It does. Because people are going to look over and look at the light that's shining over there, and they're going to do everything they can to get a big old hose to blow it out,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever. So, baby steps. Just keep on plugging and keep on aspiring, flowing, that
Mm.
flowing with your life nobody's life is what they thought it would be when they were 23. And
Yeah,
I'm
it's true.
73.
Wow.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh. Shh, shh,
Don't tell anyone.
don't tell anybody.
you look incredible.
Of course. Listen, I said the same thing to a friend's daughter at a wedding gathering who I've known since she was in a high chair. And I said, Jessie, you look fabulous. And she said, of course. It's an
I'll say it next
attitude.
time someone says it to me. That's what I'll respond with.
Yeah, of course.
Well, it's an attitude, and it really is a blessing. I mean, it's such a blessing to be fit and, you know, have most of my faculties. There are those who will argue that I've never had all of my faculties, but they're probably long gone.
Yes, so
Hang in
true.
there.
That's
For
true.
the,
Yeah.
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
Who ends up
exhausting
on top?
ride. For the exhausting ride.
Yeah.
They're kind of Jim Carrey-ish.
Love him.
Yeah.
So what's it like in 'cause you're in Nashville, right?
Yes, Nashville, Tennessee. Music City, USA. It's
Yeah,
Mm.
great.
I've heard
what's
good
it
things
like?
about Nashville.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's wonderful. My husband and I walked from our East Nashville neighborhood 2 nights ago to the symphony across the pedestrian bridge to our gorgeous Schemmerhorn Symphony Center and saw a chamber orchestra. And then we walked home at
Wow.
9 o'clock at night, 9:30. It's really growing into an exciting city and all of that has its charms and its challenges,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
growing pains. I think the
Yeah,
whole universe is having growing pains right now
Yeah.
definitely. I
at this
think
point in our time. Although
I've
my time isn't your time. Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
You're in
that's right.
tomorrow already.
I know. I
crazy.
How
know.
does that happen?
It's weird.
Go figure.
I so I'm in Scotland at the moment and I'm from Sydney originally. I grew up there. That's where I'm from. It's like the New York of Australia. I mean, it's nowhere near as big as New York, but as far as like Australia goes, it's like I guess kind of probably the biggest city. I don't quote me on that, but it's very established. Um, and then I've moved to the tiniest little town in the Scottish Highlands. So very, very different. Yeah, very different environment. And I always knew I wanted to live outside of the city and live in a small town, but I've never kind of experienced it before, this moving here. And
Were you searching for Heathcliff?
Heathcliff, is that an actual
Your
place?
love, Juliet. Your love.
Oh, no.
Scottish. Wasn't Heathcliff Scottish? And Jane Eyre, wasn't that Heathcliff anyway?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You go by yourself, or did you go for love of another, or love of the
I
cold?
went for love of
We went for
myself.
and love of adventure.
Yeah.
Oh, and look, she's now angelic. Look at that beautiful angel wings behind her head.
No.
You're not doing so bad. So what
No,
time is it where you are?
it is almost 10 p.m. in
Today or
at night.
tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Today, the third.
Oh, yes.
On
Sorry, Juliet. You are too. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
so
I'm the furthest. I'm the furthest further us in
Yeah,
time.
mum is in the future. I'm the same day as you, but I think I'm like 5 or 6 hours ahead.
Yeah.
If 10 a.m. or 10 p.m.?
10 p.m.
Oh, 10 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
So
is so confusing. I'm going to have
I
to
know.
go fix a martini. Excuse me. One of the chamber players said that the other night after this gorgeous performance, but he was so nervous. His parents from Milwaukee were behind me, and I did part of my growing up in Milwaukee anyway. As he was leaving the stage, he said, "One more question, because then I'm going to have to go have a martini." That was great.
I do love a martini.
Well,
But
my
yeah.
name is Sarah Martin McConnell.
Oh,
It's
so
like
you're born for martinis.
Marguerite, always loved
Oh, wow.
margaritas.
Yeah, I love margaritas too.
I do love a margarita, to be fair. I do love a margarita.
Juliet, are you having a wonderful, thriving adventure in Scotland? Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes, well, I was actually going to say I really appreciate the community here in this small town and how everyone has each other's backs here. And
Lovely.
there's beautiful, beautiful, like thriving artistic communities where like it's a tiny town, but there's an art gallery and they have people. They just did a portfolio workshop. It was like a 6 week or a 10 week workshop, and people flew over from like New York to take this workshop, and they had a whole exhibition. And there's a bunch of shops in town that sell their artwork and also other um people's art and textile art, painting art, like any type of art. Like art is just such a big part of this town. Even pottery is like a huge thing here. There's like a really famous pottery company, and then there's also an independent guy who does like full on pottery workshops out of his shed. And like I don't know, everyone's super creative, everyone's super in support of like sustainability. And I just
Oh, what
was,
a great community.
yeah,
Good. I'm
yeah, so
so
I'm
glad you
really,
found that.
yeah. And
Mm.
it's like we have a river in town, there's like a river, and there's
Oh,
the
and
Highlands,
a
like,
river too.
and the sea. It's
And
got a
it's so
river
green,
and
isn't
the
it?
ocean. Yeah,
It's
it's
and the ocean, and it's
and the
green, green,
ocean
green.
and mountains. It's
Oh my
crazy.
God.
I
The Atlantic, right? The Atlantic
uh
Ocean.
yeah, I think, oh gosh, I'm not good at geography, but I think so. It's on the west coast, so I think it is the Atlantic.
Do you live, you said, and the ocean, you live on the ocean, river here, ocean there?
Yeah, so the river
So
goes
you need
from
to figure out which ocean that is so you can put yourself in place so that you can be sure you're orbiting from all the right directions. You should know where you are,
Yeah.
okay.
probably. What
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
went for
yeah.
a swim? You wouldn't even know what ocean you were in.
I do go for a swim often. I don't ever know. So yeah, I'll figure that one out. Yeah,
I
but
I prayed for my life at the edge of the Pacific Ocean on a cliff,
beautiful.
Mm.
and it was crazy.
Yes. Tell us about that.
Well, I was at a spiritual retreat. I had read Confessions of a Yogi by Yogananda,
Uh-huh.
and I'd always wanted to go to his uh, compound, although that's, you know, in what is the name of the little town in California, outside of San Diego? south of San Diego. Anyway, I wasn't used to the Pacific Ocean. It was right on the Pacific Ocean. And, there was a way to get down this cliff to the Pacific Ocean this way. And then I swam and then I came back up this way. But the tide was coming in magnificently the next morning when I did it the other way, remembering I could get out. And so oh gosh, I've never surfed like that in my whole life. Body surfed.
Yeah.
Coming in. And I thought I could walk around the same way. Well, I couldn't. And I got stuck like at this rock precipice and the waves were crashing. And I thought, okay,
Yes.
I have to crawl up the side of this cliff or get washed into the Pacific Ocean. It was so powerful. And this was Ensenada, California. And just 3 weeks ago, these people had been sunbathing under these cliffs and they had fallen. So climbing on these rocks was absolutely against the law of the land, and they were posted everywhere, rocks, unstable. And here I am crawling on them.
Right.
And I saw a place that I thought I could get up to, but it turned out not to be any good. But in the meantime, I had pulled myself up to get further away from the water's edge, and I heard this crack.
Uh-oh.
And I broke a rib.
Oh,
Because
God.
I was climbing on rocks. I said, okay, I'm just going to calm down and I'm going to get out my phone and I'm going to dial 911 and they'll send a helicopter for me and they'll understand that I'm an ignorant soul from Middle Tennessee and underestimated the Pacific Ocean. And they could come get me and it would be embarrassing, but I would be alive. And God, if you'll only save me from this,
I
I'll
love
be
that
good.
line.
I'll be
And
so
they'll
good.
understand that I'm an ignorant soul.
And anyway, I reached in my backpack, which was on my back, to get my phone. And in that wave that had come and practically, this is when I knew I had to get out, the wave literally jettisoned me against the wall and then went out and it took my phone with it.
Oh my God.
So, but over in the distance, there were some surfers. And I just said, okay. And I started trying to get their attention with my towel and two saw me, a couple, and they came over and I went back down to the water's edge, but to a calmer place. And it had kind of a big outcropping. And I said, do you think you could paddle me to shore? I'm stuck up here.
Yeah.
I said, can you swim? Oh, yes. Yes, I'm a senior lifesaver, water safety instructor. I can swim. Yes, I can. So he said, okay, well, when he couldn't come up very close because the rocks were treacherous. And especially if it was going to be shallow enough for me to get out as far as possible, for him to come in that way would have smashed his surfboard to smithereens. So he said, okay, I'm going to tell you when to swim out here. And he watched the waves so that it was just right, so that at the shallowest part, I could go out there. And then I dove in and swam to him. And he said, here, you're going to have to lie on my surfboard. And then he said, I'm going to have to get on top of you. I'm sorry, but that's the only way. I said, it doesn't matter. Thank you. Do whatever. I'll make myself part of the surfboard. The surfboard and I are one. And he paddled me to shore.
Oh, God.
And his girlfriend was with him, and they had just decided to celebrate their anniversary and come out to this part of the beach for a surf. And Tyler, and I just gave Tyler the biggest hug. I said, you may have just saved my life. Really. Thank you for responding.
Yes. Wow.
Wow. The
And
ocean
I
is
was in a
powerful, man. The ocean is powerful.
Yes, oh my gosh. And the Pacific, I'm used to the Atlantic. That's my side of the, southern, southeastern.
Hmm.
We went to the Maryland shore growing up. I mean, that's so much tamer than the Pacific Ocean, which I've had very little interaction with.
Yeah.
But the little I've had has been deadly.
What's
No,
what's
not deadly.
what's the ocean the Sydney the Sydney
Pacific.
Pacific? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not too, I feel like on the West Coast it's so that's the Indian
Colder.
on the West Coast. And
Yes.
that's
Indian
quite
Ocean.
more intense. It's like a lot more cold.
Yeah.
Um it's a
It's
lot more
definitely
open.
different.
Yeah.
It's definitely different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. I feel like even if you go to the north of Scotland and the northeast, it's the North Sea or something, like the
Mm.
North Sea, and that's freezing, freezing cold and dark, deep dark, and you feel like, yeah, it's very like Viking-esque. I just think of Vikings rowing their dragon boats or something, like, and just cliffs, and like the waves are crashing into the cliffs like crazy.
There
Yeah.
might even be a fjord or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. So I don't know, but I love the ocean. And mum always talks about this, but mum has a special connection with water. And
Mm.
Oh,
I feel like,
Claudia,
you know,
tell us about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a recent thing. Since my dad died in 2014, my connection to water has deepened quite a lot. And tend to, I feel like water holds memory. It holds the history of time.
mm,
And we can access that when we go to the water. I feel that the connection to my dad is the veil is thinner. And I feel like you can connect to the other side when you're near water, and you can hear the murmurings, from our ancestors. And it's just, yeah, I feel like when you're around water, the veil is thinner and you can
Mhm.
connect more easily.
It's those negative ions helping
Yeah,
you to go to a different vibration, a different frequency,
mm,
it's beautiful.
a higher, more universal.
Yeah.
mm.
Do you
So
all
it's,
know a woman? I have two. Oh, well, anyway,
yeah.
yes, continue.
Oh, I was
So,
just going to say your story about the cliff is very close to my heart because I went to the cliffs with Juliet. She came with me, and I was standing on the cliff, screaming out at the ocean and getting all my frustration and anger and everything that was kind of like heavy inside my heart. I just gave it to the ocean, screamed it out, and the ocean gave me so much wisdom back. And so the cliffs are definitely a place of transformation. It definitely makes you feel small, because I felt very, very, very small. So I can imagine when you were clinging for your life on the side of that cliff. You were feeling extremely small. And I think
And nobody knew where I was.
exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I felt that way in the middle of Arizona too.
Yeah.
At
I think
at
there's
a
lots of places
yeah.
on the earth where we can feel that. Yeah.
Well, I was in a Mexican restaurant drinking a margarita by myself, thinking, I am driving across the country and not a soul knows where I am right now. This was before cell
Mm,
phones. You know, that was
yeah.
an interesting place to be. Well, I'm not surprised then that we have connected because
Yes.
I'm a Pisces through and through and water. You are you,
I'm a
Julia?
Pisces.
March 13 is my
I'm
birthday.
11th. Very
Oh,
close.
1113.
Yeah, I'm 11th of
Oh,
March
311.
2003. So I'm like 1133 is my birthday.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, so, and I've got to tell you, I'm sure, Claudia, you know this, but there was a Japanese scientist who
Mm,
studied the effect
yes.
of thought vibrations,
Yeah.
thoughts intentioned and focused on uh, placid glass bottles of water from the
Yeah.
same source, and some were hurled as negative and some beautiful. And his first one was every time his students, he said, every time you pass out this door, you think, oh, you horrible water. Oh, you just make me sick. And just
Yeah.
throw negative at this water. And when you walk out that door by that water, thank you, water. You bring water to my system. You are the water of life. And then they froze it and looked at it
Yeah.
under a microscope. And the water on uh, the vomit door looked like that. It had no form. It was ugly. It was a mess, just terror in motion.
Mm.
And that side was gorgeous crystals reflecting light, just gorgeous crystalline. And they went further to understand that different specific thoughts, every snowflake has a different pattern.
Mm.
Yes.
Well, they've done thought experiments with water, and I'm probably telling you all what you already know, aren't I?
No, it's good because I don't think a lot of people know about it, the power that we can
Mm.
infuse into water intentionally,
Well,
because
we're
we
not.
can intentionally put those positive thoughts and
Yeah.
positive vibes into the water and then drink it, and then that water becomes part of us. Yeah.
Or yeah, or just do the whole kit and caboodle, water and self, all doing it at once. Like
Yeah.
Mm.
I've just discovered a fabulous image that I love, and um, a oh, it's like an apple shape, um, a sacred torus.
Mhm.
You know about the torus?
Uh-huh.
It's like
The energy Taurus.
yes, and it just
Hmm.
forever goes in all directions like
Mm.
a tire kind of, but like
Yes.
an apple
Yeah.
shape,
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
energy every and expanding infinitely. And
Hmm.
that is apparently, well, it is a very powerful image to emit, to open one's thinking about stuff.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
is
So that's
how
the
I think that's
toroidal
how,
field around each person, isn't it?
yeah, we all have that, right?
Yes.
There was
That's
an
right.
an American Indian who sat up on top of a hill with someone, or he was asked, where is God? And the American Indian replied, right here with myself is the center, but also every one of us is that center. So I don't know. It's all very mysterious. That's what we've got to remember, and not get too hung up on whose mystery is the best.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, we're at an hour pretty much.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've just rambled
is-
on and on.
No,
It's been
that
good.
is, please do not apologize, because this has been an incredible episode, and that is kind of the whole point of She's of Love, is to just go with the flow and talk about these topics and share each other's stories. So thank you so much.
Be sure and follow me on Facebook and my Instagram page, and where else am I? Let me think. My website, and who
Everything.
knows?
We'll
Everything.
we'll link your Facebook, we'll tag you, and so people can check that out. And
And
yeah,
anywhere you listen to music,
Yeah, awesome.
Spotify,
yes.
YouTube.
Is that just under your name, Sarah Martin
Sarah
McConnell?
Martin McConnell. Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks for your
Everywhere.
time today, Sarah.
Thank you
Yeah.
all.
A
So
pleasure.
sweet of you to have me. I hope I didn't ramble too incoherently.
No,
No,
it's been
definitely
great.
not. It's been a great episode. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for watching. And Mum and I will see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye from Tennessee.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on.